Hey, cosplayers, we're live. Wait for some people to show up here. All right. We will get started. Yep. Top chat. Here we go. Okay. Hopefully. We're on here. All right. Well, we're going to be chatting about the best tools to get started, to use when getting started cosplaying. And we'll see. Hopefully people are going to get notifications soon and hop on. Got a list. So one of the questions I get frequently on at conventions and different things when I do panels and online through chat messages or different things like that, they ask like, what tools do I need to get? What do I actually have to be able to start making stuff? I see all these fancy tools that people are using. I don't have the space or the money to be able to get those. What should I do? What tools should I get? Kind of thing. And so in this video today, we're going to go through the best tools, what I recommend, just like your base kit of what you need to get to be able to start creating some really awesome stuff. So that's what we'll be going through today on the live stream. Hopefully we'll have everybody tuning in pretty soon here. Probably should share this link. All right. Well, is it even showing us live on YouTube? Let's see. Because I should be able to see it on here, right?
Hey, cosplayer. Do you want to create awesome costumes?
That's why. Hey guys, welcome, welcome. I had some little technical difficulties getting started. I actually started the live video as unlisted, and so it wasn't getting put out to anybody. So hopefully you're joining in now. If you're just joining in, make sure to throw a comment here in the chat and let me know where you're coming from. And welcome to tonight's video. So I get well, to tonight's hangout, basically. So, hey, Leah, I'm glad you made it. So I get the question a lot from people at conventions or, online through chat and different things like that. Hey, Ashley, how's it going? Welcome, welcome. So I get asked, rose-colored cottage, that explains so much. Yeah. Couldn't figure it out. I'm sitting here live and I'm like, is nobody showing up? And then I realized that I had set it to unlisted for the live video, which I guess you could do that so you can have like live videos that only certain people can see or something like that. But anyway, so we're on now. But I get the question frequently asked, and obviously I put out a poll today, both on Instagram and YouTube, and asked what you guys wanted to discuss tonight, between either doing a discussion on the best tools to get when getting started in cosplaying. Hey, Wicked Intention, yo, what's up? Whether it was to go through the best tools on getting started in cosplay and getting started cosplaying, or a discussion on who would win in a like melee battle between all of the non-powered heroes from the DC and Marvel universe. If they were all just like in a big free-for-all battle, who would probably take it? But so the vote was best tools for getting started with cosplay, and so I'm going to go through that list of what I recommend and answer that question, because I do get that question a lot when I do panels at conventions, different things like that, or live events, training people, and then also especially online through chat questions, that kind of thing from people all the time. So pretty sweet. Tonight we're going to go through and show you basically, I think you can get it for under around 40 to 50 bucks, like kind of your whole cosplay starter kit, to be able to really start creating cool things. Just, you know, even if you're starting from scratch with no tools or anything. So if you guys are excited about it, type yeah in the comments right now, and we'll continue forward. So I'll keep an eye out for everybody's excitement on this and going through some of these tools. So basically, if you're getting started cosplay, or you know somebody that's getting started, frequently the question is going to be, all right, yeah, we got Wicked Intention, Rose Colored Cottage. Thank you guys for joining in and commenting. Yeah. All right, so Leia as well. Thank you. All right, so let's go through, and first, before I talk about the tools, I want to talk about why I recommend these tools, and I would recommend this to anybody getting started, beginning in cosplay. The question you kind of look at is like, hey, what materials are you wanting to use? What materials should you be using to get started that are easy to work with? Where should you start to kind of start creating things? So many builds nowadays and everything, especially game related and a lot of movies related now as well, all have, you know, elements of armor to them. Usually a good portion of them are armored builds nowadays. Even, you know, superheroes like the Flash in the Justice League, basically they kind of did it on like an armored version of Flash's traditional costume for that as well. And so we're seeing a lot of armor builds and everything like that. And so what I have found to be the easiest to work with when doing anything armor related is to work with EVA foam. And so that being the case, that's where I would recommend getting started, because it is the lowest cost to get into for the highest production quality that you can get out of it, if that makes sense. So compared to trying to start with sewing or something like that, a sewing machine is going to be a big investment. You're looking at, you know, to get a decent one, you know, at least $100 starting point, right? You know, and so and then everything else on top of that goes along with it, right? And then there's just a ton of like knowledge and everything that you need to know, using different feet for different things, and using different aspects of the sewing machine to do different things based on the material that you're using, how do you stitch it, all that stuff, right? Yeah, for a good sewing machine, yeah, exactly. You're looking at more like 500, yeah. So if you're starting like super cheap, you know, maybe you could get away with finding one for 100, but they get pricey really quick, and especially if you want a decent one, which you're gonna want to have for your doing your cosplay stuff, right? So that's where I recommend starting is on the side of is not necessarily starting with sewing. If you're getting into it, if you've been doing sewing and that's what you're familiar with, you've done that, then yeah, that's a great place to start. But if you're just getting in, you haven't done a ton of crafting or anything like that, a ton of sewing, building anything, costume making, anything like that, start with EVA foam. Thermoplastics would be the other thing, but depending on what type of thermoplastics you're doing, you can't do a whole lot of costume things unless without getting too expensive, because to use Worbla, it's a very high priced material, while the tools that you use are relatively inexpensive to use it and build things. The cost really comes up in the material, it gets really high. And so I strongly recommend anybody starting off with cosplay, you want to make something cool that looks amazing but isn't going to cost you a lot to get the tools to work with, something that you can work with in a small space, that you don't need to have an entire wood shop or like a big workshop to work in, and that you can get tools inexpensively and easily, minimal number of tools, and minimal cost for the materials as well. So that being said, that's where I would recommend starting as far as like what to start with material wise. And then that being said, with starting with that material, now we'll jump into the tools that I would then recommend, kind of your starter pack. So if you don't have anything right in your house or apartment or whatever, and you're like, I want to get going, I want to make some cool cosplay stuff. Looks like we got a couple more people. Let's see. Zuli, hey, welcome. No worries. Better late than never. Thanks for joining in. Let me know if you need me to repeat anything, but I just kind of went through some of the different, materials and things that you can use to get started in cosplay, and why I recommend starting with EVA foam, just it being the best bang for your buck, basically. Minimal tools, easy to work with in a small space. It's not a ton to the cost for the material either. You can get it pretty easily and inexpensively. And so with that, we'll start into the tools. So I'm going to tell you from as if you have nothing, right? You're just in a small apartment and you've never crafted anything. You weren't able to take your mom's cutting mat with you or anything, right? So you're starting from completely scratch. I want to give you a list of just the few items that you can get in a little kit package kind of thing. Like, just buy these few things for about $50 total, and you're set to be able to start creating amazing things. Like, you'd be able to create, stuff that looks like this, or this, with these minimal tools, and be able to just get started and do it in a small space. So, as well as amazing props or anything else as well. So with that, let's dive in. I'm going to start. So if you're working with EVA foam, number one thing, you're going to need a way to cut it. So number one on the list is a X-Acto knife, razor blade, or box cutter, retractable box cutter blade. You only technically need one to get away with most stuff. So if you do already have an X-Acto knife or something like that, or you can steal one from your mom's house, or you find one at, they're pretty inexpensive. So I would recommend going with our dope knife. That's our Cosplay branded one. You got it says Cosplay Apprentice on it, so that you can show everybody that you're a cosplay apprentice. And but anyway, and it just looks dope. It's a dope knife, right? So check out our dope knives. Once again, all these things I'm recommending will be in the link in the description, so that you can go there and check them out, price them out. And I take you to our dope knife, but you can look at other X-Acto knives too. But this one's pretty dope. So, but yeah, so that's number one, a razor blade of some sort. Kitchen knives wouldn't really work. You need something that's nice and sharp, razor sharp, to start with. So this comes with a pack of 5 blades, which is handy, especially if you're getting started and you don't want to buy something to hone your blades and keep them sharp forever, kind of thing. That's something that might be later on as you build up your tool set, kind of thing. But yeah, so start with an X-Acto knife, but you're going to want to protect your surface so you're not in your house, or at your parents' house or in your apartment, and you don't want to be damaging the counters or your dining room table and having to pay your landlord for damages or different things. So you need something to protect your surface. You don't need a cutting mat this big, although this size was only like $20 on Amazon, 20, 25, something like that. But you can get ones that are smaller. I believe I have these linked in that kit as well. If I don't, let me know and I'll add it after this. But a cutting mat, so that's gonna run you, depending on the size that you get. And if you're in a smaller space, I would recommend a smaller size. I would at least get, though, a 12 by 18 size, because that's gonna be able to protect your work surface. If you have any larger projects, you can at least have a decently large area to be able to cut some longer cuts along, and not have to be like constantly moving a tiny little cutting mat around. So I'd at least go with like a 12 by 18. That's the same size as our um, what the foam packs. So once again, we've designed these to be able to be easy to use in a small space. So 12 by 18 cutting mat. So far, two things, right? Something to cut the foam with, something to protect your surface with, the cutting mat. If you're super risky and you want to like push your luck, I guess you can try to get away with no cutting mat and just go with this, cut down on your costs. I wouldn't recommend it. Protect your surfaces. And your blade too, because cutting into other things might dull it a lot faster. So, all right, so that's the first two things, right? And then next up, and this is gonna be like this is the cosplayer's like go-to like best friend, right here, heat gun. Okay, super important whether you're gonna be ending up working with thermoplastics later on. You're gonna need a heat gun if you're using. Okay, so the cutting mat's not in the kit. I'll add it right after we finish up here. Okay, and I'll point to this one because it's a really good price. Like this one is huge, and I think it was only $25. So the other ones are going to be even less than that. But it's been a great cutting mat. I have two now. Here you can see. I've got one right here that's on this side of the work table, and then another one that's set up on that side of the work table. I got one, and it's been wonderful, and so I went and got another. But yeah, I'll add that into the kit. Thank you. Okay, so heat gun. So now I've done a lot of work on this to try to find a good heat gun for you guys to recommend to you, especially for this scenario where you're talking, what tools do I get to get started, get going in cosplay? Because you're like, okay, I'm wanting to build up my tools. I don't want the upfront cost to be tons to have that high barrier of entry. And so I've tested several heat guns. Purchased a couple off of Amazon. I have like more than I need of heat guns here in my workshop. It's nice when we go and do demos and stuff like that and live events though. So, but some people recommend you go to Harbor Freight and get their cheap like $8, or no, it's not $8. Sometimes if it's like one of their sale days, you can get it for $8, but it's usually like 15 or something like that. I got one, started using it. I think it was only like not even within the first week or two, it like kind of freaked out, stopped working, and just smoked. And I was like, whoa, boy, this is not cool. This is not safe. I don't want to recommend this one. I went back and got another one. I haven't used it a whole lot. I went and replaced it. They were good about replacing it for me, but I haven't used it a ton just because it scares me. I'm not sure how well it works, but I have used this one a lot. The Genesis. Heat gun. You can get this on Amazon. It's in the link in the kit below. It's only $15. So basically same price you'd get that other one at Harbor Freight, normal price. But this one comes with a couple different attachments for it, and has some other nice features. It's kind of got this wide base here, so you can set it down. Let me show you. So you can kind of, once you've like heated something up, you can set it down so that the hot air is kind of blowing up and it's not like gonna, touch anything and burn it. The nice thing too is the way that it's built, with how slim this is right here. You can set it down this way too, and it doesn't touch your surface. But anyway, so this one has been awesome, and it's only like $15 or $17 or something like that. And so that's the one that I've found and would recommend on Amazon for you guys, to be able to get when you're getting started and keeping your costs down. Right now, if you're gonna go and you're like, okay, well I'm fine to spend a little bit more up front to make sure that I have a good one that's gonna just like last forever and keep going, then I would go to Wagner for the heat gun. So I've got, I've got two Wagner heat guns, both of which are amazing. I've had this one for 5 years, maybe 6 years. I'm not sure. but it just keeps running great. It has like a cooling function, which helps keep it safer and also make it last longer and different things. I got this one recently, and it's like the Cadillac of heat guns. It's got a digital display. You can set the temperature to like within the degree of anything you want in a certain range, so it works for a wide variety of things, even just around the house, and not just for your cosplay stuff too, but whatever you might be doing. But it works for soldering, works for all these other things. Anyway, so but this is the one I'd say when we're talking basic, get your starter kit pack as a beginning cosplayer, just getting your tool set, started and ready to go, and starting to make cool stuff. I'd recommend this one. So, okay, so far we've got X-Acto knife, razor blade, box cutter type of thing, heat gun, and your cutting mat, right? So then the only other thing you need now is, and this is for your safety and your lifespan to be longer than and happy, is a respirator. So I would recommend this 3M one. It's got some great functions in that it has kind of this drop down feature where you can just drop it down, you can talk, do different things, whatever, when you're in a different room, and then when you come back in to do your stuff, you can just pull that down, and then it's like tightened right on. And so you don't have to constantly be like, putting it on, tightening it up, strapping it down, making sure it's all fitting correctly, and then you go to take it off and you have to like fiddle with it, get it off, loosen it, whatever. This is really handy, just to be able to pop right on, do your gluing, different things, and then pop right back off. And so the key thing with this is not just the respirator, but also the organic vapor cartridges. So that, because if you're going to be doing EVA foam, the best glue to use, and you guys can watch my video on best glue for EVA foam, is contact cement, which has some dangerous vapors that you're going to want to protect yourself from with this, and do it in a well ventilated space. So yeah, there you go, respirator. So that's to protect you with working with the glues and different things like that. So that's your base kit. Okay, so knife, heat gun, cutting mat to protect your surface, respirator to protect yourself. Okay, now with that, you can start doing a lot of things. That gives you the ability to be able to get your foam, cut your foam. You can do incredible details and cool bevel cuts, heating it, shaping it, doing all kinds of things, gluing together things. Hey, welcome, Uriel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Oh, I missed a couple others here. Let's see. Paul, howdy. Yeah, better late than not at all. Definitely. Welcome. Let me know if you guys need me to repeat anything. I kind of try to keep repeating the list of the tools I recommend. So for those of you just joining, we're talking through the best tools that I recommend to people that are, when they're just getting started cosplaying. And many people have asked me, when I'm just getting started, what's kind of the base? Like, what are the tools that I just like have to get to be able to start creating things, and how can I get them for the best price so that I'm not like having a huge barrier of entry to get tools to get started in this? And so I'll just run through the quick list again. We've got, starting with an X-Acto knife, or a retractable razor blade here like this. That's number one. Number two is a surface, or something to protect your surface, and so that's going to be a cutting mat. And once again, I have the link to the kit in the description of the video here that will point to a bunch of these, as well as the other tools that I use and different things. But we're talking just kind of, hey, your base kit, what do you need to just get started and get going, right? And so link to that again with the cutting mat. I recommend 12 to 18 size, and then 12 by 18 inches at least. And then your heat gun. This is the one I recommend, works great. I've personally tested it myself. And then a respirator. like this. So let's see. Missed the name and model of the mask. Yeah, so I do have this in the kit that's linked in the description, but this is the 3M. I'm trying to remember what the model was on it. It's like the 3M rugged something. It has 3 different sizes: small, medium, and large, depending on your, the size of your face and things. But yeah, so it's made by 3M, and I have a link in the one of the items in that kit in the description is this respirator and also these cartridges. And these are the cartridges you want to get for working with EVA foam if you're going to be using contact cement, because these are organic vapor and acid gas cartridges that are going to filter out those. If you want to use this as well for like dust, sanding and that kind of stuff as well, you can get another like attachment. It's kind of like a pink thing that attaches on that filters out dust as well on top of these, and then you kind of have it. It works for everything. And then you'll switch these out once you get to a point you're sitting there using it. Once you get to a point where you can smell the glue coming through, you can smell it with the mask on, because with this on you can't smell it at all. But once you can start to smell it in the mask, then that's your cue. Hey, I need to replace these cartridges. And I think they're like $11 to replace, and they last a good while, especially if you keep putting it in your sealed bag when you're not using it, because what it is if it's open and to the just like the elements to the room where you might have those vapors or different things that it's filtering. If you seal it off in a bag when you're not using it, it's not gonna like be filtering those for no reason and wearing it down. But if you just pull it out of the bag and then only use it when you're actually using it, that'll help increase the length of time that they work as well. So highly recommend this. It's easy to be tempted to say, oh, I'm just gonna start without it, or I'll just wear a bandana or something. But it really is not good for you to do that, and you gotta have the proper filter to be able to filter those out. It makes a world of a difference and keeps you healthy and safe. So that's the base kit, right? With that, like I was saying, you can start working with EVA foam. You can do your cuts, you can do your gluing, you can do your heat shaping, everything like that. So you could make something that looks like this just with those tools, okay? So that is how cool EVA foam is, and also how like easy it can be to get started, right? I think the combination of all of those pieces, I'm trying to remember, with the respirator is probably one of the more pricier items in that kit. Once you add it with the cartridges, I think it comes out to about $30 on its own. But for about $50 or so, you can get everything you need to get started and get going. Which, with working with no other material, can you really do that? Like the tools are minimal for working with thermoplastics, but like I said, the cost of the material is so much higher compared to EVA foam. So for like a sheet of Warbler, you're gonna be looking at $100, like 90, 80, 90, $100 for like the big sheet of Warbler. For that same size sheet, or even a larger sheet of even our What the Foam, which is like top of the line, like best thing you can get, is gonna be more than half that price. So pretty awesome what you can do with just those tools, right? So the other thing that you'll probably want to make, which is kind of a tool, but it's kind of it's one of the like expendables type of thing, is to add kind of your to smooth off some edges and sand different things. To start off with, you can just get these paint sticks for free at Home Depot kind of thing, or different hardware stores, and then just buy a pack of sandpaper, and you just kind of glue some sandpaper onto here, and this works as a great sanding stick to be able to then sand down and just kind of use sandpaper to be able to sand down or round off some edges and that kind of thing. But your next purchase should be after your kind of base kit. So let's say you get your base kit, you get started, you kind of start working on some projects, you're getting into the flow of it. Next payday, or the next month when you're like, okay, time to invest in my next tool, that's where you're gonna want to get this guy, which is just a rotary tool. Okay, this Wen rotary tool has lasted me probably. I've been doing this for so long now. I'm not remembering how many years it's been. It's been like 5 or 6 years that I've had this, probably, and it's only like $20 on Amazon. Comes with a bunch of different attachments, and also has a flex shaft. So I started using the flex shaft when I first started, and I just kind of hung this off to the side, and then it has this shaft that attaches to it and comes down to a small little easy to grip piece that you have the bits in, and then you can kind of use it more like a pen, and it gives you a little bit more control and kind of things a little bit smaller. My flex shaft did wear out since I bought this, but this continues to just keep going. Now it's corded, which I would recommend to do. Don't go for an inexpensive Dremel that's cordless, because it probably won't last very long or won't do very well. But this corded one, $20, came with a whole kit with a bunch of attachments, everything. Is still working, still is great. This one's the one I just have like right here attached in my workshop, ready to go. And then if you're wanting to spend a little bit more on it, you can go with something like Milwaukee's cordless one, which I love. I love Milwaukee's products. It doesn't hurt that they are black and red. But anyway, I love Milwaukee's stuff. I just got this recently, and I've been using this way more just because it's cordless than this other one, just as of late. But yeah, this one is a great one to go with. So we're talking, best bang for your buck. This is gonna work great. I wouldn't recommend probably using this for like grinding down like metal to work on your car or different things, or kind of some of the intensive stuff that other people might do with like a full out Dremel tool. But for sanding foam, smoothing out things, adding battle damage, doing the cool effects that you can do with Dremel bits and stuff like that, adding rivets, all that, this thing is a champ. So once again, that first batch that I kind of went through, that's your initial like base package, right? You get those things, you're set to go. You can start working with EVA foam, creating amazing things, full like armored costumes, heat shape, like pauldrons, like helmets, whatever, right? And then you'll just be using kind of some sandpaper, sanding it a little bit more by hand. Might take a little bit longer, but then your next investment should be a Dremel, right? Then after that, you can just kind of slowly start building up your tools as you go through, just buying one little thing here and there. Kind of the way that I did it was usually most of them on their own, the ones I recommend, are in that $20 range. So after that first initial investment of getting your base kind of package ready to go, and you're start working of your 40 to 50, or I can't remember what the total price is of those pieces. Once you have that, then on top of that, just like every once in a while, you just add a $20 piece on, right? It's like the price of going to Cafe Rio for two, or going out to dinner, at like a QSR, quick service restaurant, that like Chick-fil-A, right? It's a meal, 2 meals at Chick-fil-A, right? And you can get yourself another tool to add to your arsenal. So going along that kind of line, you've got this. The other thing, if you want to start with just like a really cheap like $5 hot glue gun, you can, for the hot gluing that you may want to be doing. So let's see. Oh, sorry. You guys have had a bunch of comments. Let me jump in. Okay. So I will go to the link for sure. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, you guys. Those links, they are affiliate links. So I'm an Amazon affiliate, and so if you do go through those links and end up buying something, on Amazon. Doesn't cost you anything else, but they give me a kickback saying, hey, thanks for sending these people to buy something here on Amazon, and it helps support me and my channel. So I really appreciate you guys going through those. Even if you're just gonna go buy something on Amazon, you can actually click through one of my links on that kit and then just go buy that thing, and it'll actually give me a kickback even for that because you came in through my link. I would appreciate that. You guys don't have to. There's no pressure or anything like that, but I really do appreciate that because it helps support what we're doing here and making it possible to do these. So thank you, Paul. I appreciate it. Uriel, thank you. I'm going to go buy it fast as I can. Oh, awesome. Great. And then Paul said, so you mean your phone would be less than half the price as Warbler, correct? Yes, I believe so. So let me show you. We don't have our rolls yet on Amazon, our big ones. But here's kind of an example. They're too big to fit on the frame, on the screen here. But, and the foam is cut into here, but this is our 4mm foam roll, so you can see, I mean, it's unwound and the Warbler is tightly wound here, but this is Warbler on the top, and then this is our foam roll on the bottom, and you can see it's actually even a little bit taller, and it's a larger sheet than what the Warbler would come with, so you get more of it, and then it's also about at about half the price for the huge roll of it that you would get Warbler for. I don't know if that was the best example because it was all kind of like unwound or whatever, but we're trying to get those sent into Amazon soon. Right now we have the packs in there, which are definitely going to be less expensive. This one, so this one's our variety pack, but our 2mm pack actually comes with more foam by square footage than even our large rolls would. It's just in 12 by 18 size sheets, and most of our other packs for the 4 and the 6, they come close to about the same, a little bit just under the size of our full rolls, just in the packs. So but yeah, hopefully that answered that question for you. Hey, Alexander Sumbo Lee, what's up? Yes, that our phone would be less than half the price. Yeah, more than half would be like a little bit more than half. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Sorry. All right. Yeah. So yes, that's a great point. So if you guys haven't seen my video yet on how to make a blade last forever, one X-Acto blade last forever, check that out right after this, and you'll learn about the honing steel and how it can save you a ton. I do have this, I believe, linked in the kit, and so this is something I would probably get early on too as one of your items after kind of that initial base kit, right? So we're not talking all of these you have to get up front. You get that initial base kit, you start working on stuff, and then you realize, oh man, I wish I didn't have to change out my blades as often. So you're like, okay, I'm gonna invest in one of these now. So I'd get one of these and one of these. So this is the honing steel, which is just gonna be what you use after every couple cuts with the foam. Just hone it up. I'll show you guys how easy that process is. Like that, flip it around, run it the other way, and boom, you're ready to start cutting again. And that just helps keep your blade honed and nice and sharp. And then if you get to a point where it's like you hone it and it still isn't quite cutting the way you want it to, that's when you whip out this little guy. It's a little sharpener. You can kind of put a little bit of water on that if you want, and then you're just gonna just sharpen your blade just a little bit on this little guy, and then follow that up with the honing. Doesn't need to be extensive, it's just very minimal with this. And if you're keeping up on it, it's just like anything else. If you're keeping up on it, it's very easy, just a couple swipes and you're back onto your stuff. But if you let it go a really long time, then it's where it's like gets a lot harder to try to save the blade and bring it back, right? So totally, thank you for bringing that up, because those will save you money as well. So it's a good one to get early on, because you won't have to be buying blades near as often, or ever, really. I mean, like, I think, which one is it? I think it's this one. Like, a pack that I got with like an X-Acto blade like 4 years ago. Like, there's still 3 of the 5 in here. So, as well as all the other ones I have now. But yeah, so pretty awesome. That helps a ton. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for clarifying for me, Paul. I appreciate it. Hey, Jacob Nielsen. Any recommendations on altering 3D files? That is a good question. Are you talking like Pepakura 3D files, or like 3D printing 3D files, or trying to take a 3D file and turn it into something that you can print out and make something out of foam with? Just clarify for me on that, and then I can try to give you what I do know. Unfortunately, Myron's not here with us tonight, and he knows a lot more about the 3D printing world than I do. But I will try my best to see if I can give you at least point you in a good direction. Do you tag FOMO and WTF on your videos? I searched them and only other YouTubers' videos popped up. Well, I think I put them in the description when I'm talking about it. And I think I put the tags. Probably the possibility is because I haven't posted frequently for a while before these last couple weeks, that we're really trying to like revamp everything and really provide a lot of great videos for you guys. I'm really like blown out here. My channel authority has gone down because of my inconsistency in posting, and so the likelihood is that I'm just like not showing up on any of the first pages for those searches right now, because others are beating me out with their things. So you probably saw Chris's video, Evil Ted's, Odin makes all of their videos using FOMO, and probably didn't see any of mine. Hopefully with all these ones we're putting out now, and I'll double check and make sure that we are using those tags, because people are probably more likely going to be searching for foam clay in general. That's kind of like the general term for what FOMO is a foam clay, and there's a couple different brands of it. And so we put in the search terms for the title, like how to, because it's like working with those tips, working with that type of product. And so we put foam clay in there a lot. So if you search foam clay, you'll probably find some more of ours a little bit more. But yeah, that's just for searchability and things like that. And so the people that are asking questions about even working with other products can find it and find the answers to their problems as well. And not only just the people using FOMO. So hopefully we can help out more people. Oh yeah, Paul. So I had set up the apron thing, the Cosplay apron, on something called Spreadshirt like a couple years back. And let me pull that so you guys know what we're talking about. Let me grab it. And I tried to find the link, and for some reason it looks like because I hadn't really like done much with it, I just kind of had it up and hadn't been paying attention or doing anything with it. It looks like they might have changed something on their back end, or like made some adjustments to their website, and I didn't get the memo, and so it was no longer showing up on there. But what I need to do is I just need to go in and re-upload the thing, because it wasn't like showing the design and everything. The listing's still there, but I just need to go in and figure that out, and then I can put the link in there. I'm sorry I haven't gotten around to it yet. It's been kind of a busy week. My work, my day job work, we just moved locations, and so it's been pretty hectic with that and everything. So here we are. Much props. Have I ever used ceramic sharpeners? I have not. If you have, can you tell me a little bit about it? And awesome Hope you guys all went and saw Much Props videos. He's been using our What the Foam on a couple of his recent videos. He made a really cool saw sword thing from Warhammer, and it was just amazing. It's just kind of this modded build, and then he just recently did a blade that he made like in between waiting for his paint to dry on the other build. It's amazing. And then I don't want to spoil anything for his next video coming out, so I won't say anything unless he gives me permission to. But he just made a really cool build that I'm super excited to see with our What the Foam just barely as well from the Star Wars universe. I won't say any more unless he tells me I can. Zuli, the blade sharpener is a lifesaver. So there you go. Yeah, there's a testimonial right there. I use it all the time. Haven't had to change my blades. Perfect. Yeah, I'm hoping that video's been doing really well, and I'm really excited that I was able to put out a video about that and help people. It's like, I don't know, kind of almost feel like I'm like gonna like have to watch my back for the blade company. People are gonna be like out to get me because I told everybody that they don't have to buy blades all the time. All right, yeah, okay, so Jacob Nelson clarified 3D printing. So yeah, modifying 3D printing files. Unfortunately, I do not know a ton on that, and Myron, Olivia's not feeling well tonight, and then Myron wasn't able to make it. His daughter's getting married this weekend, and he had a lot to do, so he wasn't able to attend. But if he was here, he'd be able to answer more questions for you on the 3D printing aspect. But I'm trying to think if there's someone that I know I can send you to, point you in the right direction of where you can find some answers to that. I would say that you could probably find something. Bill Duran from Punish Props on YouTube. He might have something on that. I think I may have seen a video recently of his. If not, I believe that Kamui Cosplay has also done a video related to 3D files and kind of how they manipulate them. So hopefully that can help you out. Sorry, I don't know a ton on the 3D printing aspect yet. It's something I plan on getting into a little bit more, but as now the prices have started to drop down, because I kind of focus on trying to make things that people can all easily recreate for the most part, it was a little bit too pricey for me to get into the 3D printing side of things, but now the costs have really gone down. So just buying blades for my knife. I have like 30 blades for the knife. Nice, yeah. Well, hopefully, use these guys, and then those 30 blades will just last you the rest of your life. Paul said, great video from Much Props, loved it. Okay, so Much Props, I use a ceramic knife sharpener that I bought from Harbor Freight. It's good. I'm waiting on paint to dry right now, working on it. You can mention it. Okay. I'm so excited. So he built, what's the droid's name? The new droid from Rise of Skywalker. I don't want to give any spoilers for those of you that may not have seen it yet. But there's the new droid that was introduced that says no thank you, no thank you. I'm trying to remember what its name was, but it was so cute and amazing. And Much Props built it using our What the Foam, and it looks amazing. I'm I don't know how he built it so fast, because it's so spot on and perfect, and it looks amazing. So sounds like he's waiting for the paint to dry on that, and he'll be coming out with his video on that soon. So make sure that you guys are subscribed to his channel so you can see it. All right. Hey, Jerome, welcome. Your live streams are the highlight of my week. Oh, Jerome, that's so sweet. Thank you. That means a lot to me. I'm glad that I love these tip videos and stuff I've been putting out, and this live stream, hanging out with you guys. It's just so much fun, and you guys are so supportive, and you guys are all always interacting in the comments, and I just am loving it, and it's been so much fun. Thank you so much. I'm glad that I can help brighten your week and be a highlight. Thank you. Um, oh, D-O. Okay, everybody knew it. I couldn't remember it, but everyone else helped remind me here. So, and then Much Prop said, I have a 3D printer, but I can build faster than the print does, right? Sometimes I feel like that's the case. Well, especially if you can't just find like a file on Thingiverse and you have to try to make the 3D file yourself. It's something I want to learn is like 3D modeling, but I can definitely like whip it up in person a lot faster than the 3D than trying to 3D model it. Do, yes, that little droid, and it's amazing. So I'm super excited to see that. All right, let's see. Belt sander would be great to add. Yes. So I actually don't have one yet. I had kind of like a sander that I would use that was a like more of a mobile belt sander. It wasn't quite like a palm sander. It was like larger and had the belt action to it, but it wasn't like a tabletop belt sander. And I would flip that over and like kind of like clamp it down, and I would use that as a belt sander type of thing. But unfortunately, the cord got eaten by the sanding barrel, the sanding belt sander thing. We lent it to somebody, and then it didn't come back. So yeah, I need to get a belt sander myself, because that would be something that definitely, as you jump in and you get to the more advanced things and the bigger stuff, if you have like a workshop and things like that, you're gonna want to get things like a bandsaw and a belt sander, because those are going to be really big, helpful ones to use for a lot of things. But starting off, and then especially in a small space, one of these Dremel tools will help you to be able to accomplish a lot of the things that you need to until you can get to that point and have a workshop of your own, or the space to do it in your garage or something like that. So, sweet. Sounds good, Thomas. Thank you, man. All right, cool. Oh yes, so Jerome just brought up something. I thought about bringing this up during the live stream tonight, but I didn't want to distract from kind of the list. So we'll take a quick detour. But Jerome just brought up that he's so excited for Clone Wars Season 7 and thought the trailer was so cool. I was going to ask you guys if you had seen the trailer. How many of you guys have seen the Star Wars Clone Wars 7 Season 7 trailer yet? I just watched it today. I'm trying to... There we go. Nope. Out of focus. Yes. Okay. I'm just going to be washed out on this. But yeah, tell me, how many of you guys have seen the Clone Wars Season 7 trailer? I was like... It looked like it was everything I want Season 7 to be, just from the trailer. So I'm super pumped. And it comes out like 4 days after my birthday. And I'm like, yeah, it's going to be awesome. I'm hoping we'll see some more Darksaber in there. There wasn't anything I could tell in the trailer with the Darksaber, but I'm sure that there's going to be something happening with that to kind of track, where it got to from what we saw in the end of Clone Wars Season 6 to what we saw in Rebels related to Darth Maul. Let's see, Leia said, I'm so far behind in Star Wars 4, 5, and 6. What are what I stick with? Yeah, there's been quite a few since then. But yeah, so yeah, Clone Wars Season 7, super pumped. So excited to see the last season of Clone Wars, Uriel said. Yeah, me too. So for those of you that haven't seen it, I don't want to like spoil the trailer for you, but like you can just go watch it on YouTube. But yeah, there's more about Darth Maul. There's more about Ahsoka, it looks like, and even some on like the clones that removed their chips and didn't like execute Order 66 is kind of the feeling I'm getting, and I'm super pumped to like. That's like everything I wanted, right? Like I want to know more about Darth Maul and Ahsoka during that time period, and the clone troopers that had removed their chips and like kind of what happened with them during that whole time when Order 66 was executed. So Yeah, I'm pumped. It's gonna be awesome. What was your guys' favorite part from the trailer? For those of you that saw it. Oh, see, Leia, you've done more than me on that side of things. Like, I've seen some gameplay and stuff, and I'm always like, oh man, that'd be so fun to play some of those games. But I haven't played much by way of the games for Star Wars. I've only been tuning in on the cinematic and series universes. But yeah, anyway, so while I'm waiting for you guys to comment on any Clone Wars 7 stuff, I will just continue on with kind of our list of some of the next things that I would kind of recommend getting. So remember we talked about that initial pack. Get that to get started. That's your base. And then after that, you just kind of add one item on at a time. And how I would recommend doing that is just whatever you're seeing the biggest pain point with. If you're having a hard time, you're like, oh man, I'm sick of replacing blades, have your next thing be the honing tool. If you're like, oh, I'm doing great with the blades, it's not a problem, my cuts are still great and clean and perfect, go with with something else kind of thing, right? Or if you're like, hey, well, instead of getting the honing tool to keep my cuts clean, I'm just going to do nasty cuts and then I'll clean it up with my Dremel tool and get a Dremel tool to fix that pain point. So kind of just from there, I would say just start kind of going with whatever it is that you're like, hey, I really wish that I could do this easier, and then get that next piece. So one of those would be maybe you start off with like a really inexpensive, like couple dollar hot glue gun that you can get at a local hobby store kind of thing. But then once you get to a certain point, I would recommend this Surebonder. It's cordless, $15. This becomes super handy. You're not like having to deal with the cords, like getting in your way, knocking things off your workstation as you're trying to set it down, or if you have it plugged in on the ground, like having it get pulled off your work surface, and different things. So this is super handy. That's another one I'd recommend. One of the other things that I would recommend getting is going to be a wood burner tool. I will check and see if I have a link to the one that I'd recommend in there. It's the one that Much Props uses. I think it's something Wood Hollow, something to that effect. It seems to be a really good one that I've seen several people use. It's on my list to buy myself. This is not that one. This is one I got before I heard or saw that one. But you can, with these as well, you can add like a razor blade attachment to these, and have like a heated blade as well. So that's kind of cool, because especially if you're dealing with like a little bit thicker foams, or denser materials, like if you're trying to cut like a Sintra or something like that, you can use that heated blade, and it just like makes it super easy to cut through. You can get really smooth and kind of like cauterized like bevel cuts and stuff with this, because it doesn't catch on your like normal EVA foams and things like that. If you're using What the Foam, just a regular razor blade is going to be just fine, because it's stiff enough that when you cut, it actually cuts and the blade goes where you tell it to go. It's not going to wander off on its own, because it's like so soft, like with What the Foam, it's got a lot more density to it, and it cuts where you tell it to, and you can even just like come in. If you did cut a straight line cut and you were supposed to do it at a bevel, you can come in after you did the straight line cut and actually cut off of that top part and cut in a bevel, which you cannot do with other foams. It'll like rip or catch or like slide and different things. And I was like, what? This is awesome. Anyway, let's see. I've seen some comments coming in here. Here we go. Jacob said, my sister and I are working on some costumes to join the Mandalorian mercs right now. Oh, awesome. That's sweet. Do they have like, I thought I heard something. I don't know if it's just like 501st type of things or not, but to join the Mandalorian mercs, do you have to build your costume out of a certain type of material? Or are they a little bit more lenient on what you can build it out of? Just curious on that. I haven't really looked into those, but I always think it's so cool. Everybody, and especially like Mandalorian mercs are like so much more relevant right now too, right? With the Mandalorian having come out. Paul asks, is the Clone Wars on Netflix? That's a good question. It was. Now that Disney Plus has come out, I'm not sure if it's still on Netflix or if their contract is up and they've moved it to Disney Plus. Um, so yeah, you can check and see. I know there's a bunch of shows that were on Netflix, and as soon as their contract's up, boom, they're moving it over to Disney Plus now. So that's the case with a lot of the Marvel movies that were on Netflix. As soon as those hit their contract, they're being moved over. We were watching through all of the Star Wars movies before we watched Rise of Skywalker in theaters, watching them all through, kind of marathoning them. And there was one of them, I think it was Solo. We went to watch it the night before on Netflix, and we're like, okay, it's here on Netflix. And we're like, oh, it's kind of late. Let's watch it tomorrow. We got on the next day, and then we're like, it's not on here. We were like freaking out. We're like, it's not on Netflix anymore. What are we gonna do? And then we're like, oh, it's on Disney Plus now. Like that switch just happened to happen right between the 2 days that we were like considering watching it. But yeah, so that was kind of funny. But let's see. Then let's see. Flame Dragon Man. Hey, how's it going? And 2, can I hand make the templates for my cosplay that I'm making, as I can't find the templates I need? Did I miss something before that? I might have missed the first part of your comment, Flame Dragon Man. Let me go back and see. Okay. And 2, can I hand make the templates? So yeah, I've been getting a lot of requests on patterning videos, and so I've added a bunch to my list, and I think those are going to be the next set that I film. So I try to like film a bunch of them in a row so that I can line them up and have those go out, so that I can work on other projects and stuff and not be constantly like making them. And so I kind of film them in batches. You'll notice the last several couple weeks of videos that have been coming out, I'm like in the same shirt. And so I have a list that I'm keeping. Every time I hear like a question or a challenge that you guys have when you face working with foam or cosplay or anything like that, I add it to the list to make a video on it. And then if I hear more than one person saying that same thing, I'll kind of bump that up to the top of the list. And so those pattern videos are like all getting bumped up to the top. So I'm hoping probably beginning of next month I'll have a couple of those out for you guys on different patterning techniques, because I do some patterning in a different way than a lot of other people do, and I feel like it's very effective. And that's how I create my patterns and try to create them and make them look so accurate. And then also so some people might get mad at me. For the most part, when I do my techniques for patterning, I only have to create the piece once. There's not usually a whole lot of redoing that I have to do. I hear a lot of people, they're like, oh man, how do I like get away from being able to, I'm having to like remake a piece like 3 to 5 times kind of thing each time. And everyone's like, oh, that's just how it is and everything. And I'm like, maybe I shouldn't say anything. Like, because they'll probably be like, what? No, you don't make them in one try. But it's not really in one try, because it's a lot of more work up front creating that pattern, and it's kind of doing a lot of that grunt work that maybe they're doing through in like cycles. It's kind of just like a different process, right? I'm just preparing a lot more of it in the patterning process and figuring out a lot of those quirks and potential issues before I'm moving into the foam and materials. And so for my patterning, I use a cereal cardboard box, cereal boxes, cardboard, because it's nice and smooth and it bends well and everything like that, and tin foil and masking tape, and so there's really inexpensive materials to be able to figure out, get all that, if there's something that messes up, you just like, or you draw something wrong, you just tape over it, redraw it, and you can get a really good idea of exactly how it's going to work when it transfers onto foam, from doing that. And so I'll put out, that was kind of like a little teaser. Hopefully it helped kind of give you some ideas. But I'll be putting out a bunch of videos on patterns, and I'm actually probably, I don't know when it'll happen, but I plan on writing a book on patterning eventually, because it is something that I feel is a really big pain point for people, and hopefully we can help alleviate that. Okay, cool. Kamui has some good tutorials on making your own templates. Yeah, She does as well. So does Evil Ted on his YouTube channel. Bill Duran has a couple maybe, and then Odin Makes also has some. But yeah, I'll be putting out. I think a lot of theirs might be part of other videos where you kind of see them making patterns. There's some of them that are on making patterns specifically, but a lot of them are just you see them making patterns, or they kind of explain it in the process of building something else. And so what I'm hoping to do is with the ones I put out, they'll just be strictly those videos, just like my cosplay quick tip clips that we do, but it'll be specifically on just patterning. So. Okay. Jacob was answering my question on the Mandalorian marks. Don't think so. There's mostly regulations on how it looks, not how you do it. Okay, cool. I like that. It must be the 501st or something like that. There was one of those groups that I heard where you're like, they were very strict about what materials you actually made it out of and stuff too. But I like that. As long as it looks good and it looks accurate and things like that, then they're cool with it. Sweet. I like that. Paul's currently building a Mando helmet. I'm like, I so badly want to. But we're working on the Darksaber right now, and it's super awesome. Here's kind of a couple previews of some of the things. So I don't know if you guys remember, a couple weeks back, William Shakespeare was on with us, and we talked, and we're sending him some foam, and he sent us some kyber crystals to use in the Darksaber. And these are super cool. He sells these on his Etsy page, and you can get them on there. We're gonna give away a couple in our Darksaber video, so make sure you guys are subscribed and click that bell, select all, so you get notified whenever we come out with a video, so you're not missing anything, whether it be our quick tips or whether it be when we have our build video come out. He found this really cool trick with the clear ones. If you like spray it with this like nightshade, like black visor tint material, it'll look black, but then once you shine a light in it, it has this really cool glow. So we're gonna try to build one of these into our Darksaber, and then we're gonna give a couple away on the video. And so yeah, these are super cool. In the meantime, you can pick one up on Etsy. Tune in and see if you can win one on our video as well. But that's super cool. So we've got that. And then we've got a bunch of comments coming in here, so I'm gonna check on those real quick. But I wanna, if you guys are cool, just end the night by showing you guys our progress on the Darksaber so far. Let's see. It's really hard to find EVA foam in different thicknesses here. It's easy to find 2mm foam sheets and foam floor mats. What do you recommend to glue several sheets to get a thicker foam? Great question, Julie. So. I would do. So it's hard with the foam floor mats, right? Because they usually have the edge, one at the smooth side and then the rough side. And so you want to try to sand that down, and usually the best for that is going to be more of like a palm sander or something where you're not trying to just do it by hand, to kind of sand that down a little bit smoother. But then you can use contact cement to glue them together. So yeah, for EVA foams, I would say probably glue them together with contact cement. I haven't tried this yet, but with styrofoam, I've glued pieces together using the foam filler, gap filler, but I don't know. I wouldn't recommend that with EVA foam necessarily. Works really well with styrofoam because it's a similar consistency and kind of glues them together. But yeah, so with EVA foam, I would use contact cement. So with those foam floor mats, you're just going to want to sand down that texture so that it's not creating a gap between your two pieces, so that, because that texture might like offset it a little bit, and there you won't have a clean seam right there. But if you sand that down, then they'll sit more flush. But it definitely helps to have kind of like more of a hand sander for that, just to get more of an even sand on it. But yeah, remind me, are you in Brazil, Zuli? I'm trying to remember. Okay. Flame Dragon Man said, I'd like to see you do more videos on thermoplastics, like polymorph plastic. The first video I watched on your channel, when I got into armor cosplay. Yeah. Definitely. So I will add some of those onto the list with the quick tip videos as well because I did work with polyplastics, polymorph, instamorph type of materials extensively when I first started. That's what this is made out of. This whole sword is made out of polyplastics. Um, if I were to remake it, I definitely wouldn't make the blade out of polyplastics again, but it worked. I would do it out of PVC pipe that you heat and flatten into your blade and carry it down into your handle. And originally, I had actually made it that way with a PVC blade, but I tried to like cut it down and do a tang, and it ended up breaking. But I've since bettered that technique. But yeah, this is all made out of that polyplastics moldable thermoplastic material. It's that same company that if you guys saw my molding, easy mold making video, the same one I sent you to for getting that little AB mold mixture, they also make polyplastics. So this is like, it's a hard plastic. So it functions very similar to FOMO, but it cools to a hard plastic, and you can reheat and reshape it as many times as you want. Compared to FOMO, where it's just like once it air dries, you're kind of set with what you got. So yeah, it's a really cool material. I love it, especially working with like props and different things like that. And I bring it in wherever I can. So I will definitely add some of those, add that onto the list to do some of those. Thank you for reminding me on that, because I do have quite a bit of experience with that, and I can probably help people with a lot of the hurdles that I overcame with trying to figure out how to work with that. So, okay, Leia, have a good night. Thanks for tuning in. I'm glad you stick with us. Hopefully, get feeling better and you don't have much more snow. I think on the inside of your What the Phone packaging, you should maybe add a free template of some random thing. Just an idea. Yeah, totally. I love that idea. That would be fun. Huh. Yeah, I like that. We plan on eventually having them in a box, and that would make it easier to just be able to throw something like that in. But we could also do it with the shrink wrapping. I like it. The other idea I had with the box was also making it have like a grid on the inside, so that you can just like open up the box, then you have like this 1-inch grid pattern that you can like cut up and use for patterning or for protecting a work surface, or painting and different things like that. It just became a lot more useful packaging than just the shrink wrap in that way. But yeah, I like that idea. Thank you. Right. So I just read Paul's comment. If you mess up, just eat more cereal. What an amazing way to go about patterning. Really appreciate your attention to detail, especially for us newbies. Very cool. Yeah, no problem. Happy to help. It's a great way to go. Like, I don't know if you guys are the same as us, but we got our 3 kids, and they eat a lot of cereal in the mornings, and so we go through boxes of Life cereal and Cheerios and whatever else, and so I get a nice little collection stack of cereal boxes, and then it's a nice inexpensive way to create your pattern. So here we go. So excited to see the tutorial on the Darksaber. Could you use Super 90 spray adhesive to stack the foam? You can. I haven't used Super 90. I've used Super 77 quite a bit, and I use this anytime I'm gluing like foam, like cloth to foam or anything like that, like I did for the Iron Fist mask video. If you've seen that, teamed up with like a really awesome parkour guy, Ronnie Street Stunts, to make him an Iron Fist mask that he used in one of his videos. But anyway, yeah, Super 77, I've used that. Depending on... I haven't used this for... I know it would work for gluing two pieces together in a larger surface area. I've seen it done. I haven't done it personally, so I wouldn't have too many suggestions or know how well it ends up holding in the long run, right? I've seen them use it, but I don't know what the longevity is, if it is weaker than doing just a full out contact cement. I know this is basically like a similar type of material to contact cement, like in a spray form. But yeah, if you have the space and it doesn't make too much of a mess that way, you could probably get away with doing that as well. Oh, Guatemala, that's right. Thanks, Zuli. Sorry. Can you add a link to where to buy the crystals, please? Okay. Well, yeah, let me make a note of all the stuff I need to do after. So for Leia and stuff that's gonna watch this, try to watch this tomorrow again. What I'll do is I'll leave the live stream up. You guys will have to skip through the first like 5 minutes because I had a technical difficulty kind of thing. But if you guys are wanting to watch this back or any part of it, I'll leave it up for like overnight and part of tomorrow before I kind of like mark it unlisted. Or if you guys grab the link right now, like in your URL or whatever, and just like save that, I'll just put it as unlisted once I pull it down. Then you'll still be able to access it and come back to it. So. All right, so I need to add crystal link. And then I think we also needed to add the cutting mat. Remind me if there was anything else I needed to do after this. Oh, add thermoplastics videos to the list. Cool. All right. Yeah, Much Props started off with Polyplastics as well. He actually did a bunch of videos for their YouTube channel. Fun fact. What's my favorite build in the workshop? Definitely my hiccup stuff at this point. So there's the helmet and the chest plate and the pauldrons so far. Parts of them anyway. And then these guys. I love this like ribbed effect that we got on these arm pieces. Anyway, yeah, so great question. Definitely my hiccup. It's usually whatever my most recent project is my favorite. I'm pretty sure the Darksaber will be my new favorite when we finish that. Maybe make it like a bowl challenge and have the template provided and see other people's takes it on. Yeah, totally. I think that'd be way fun. Hey, Welby, what's up? Jerome, have a good one. Sorry I didn't see your message till just now. And then Zuli, yeah, our goal is we're still kind of just in the beginning stages of getting all our products out and stuff. But our goal is to try to make our stuff available. It's another reason we went through Amazon to sell our stuff, is we want to make it as easy as possible for people to get access to these cosplay materials like EVA foam and good quality, like smooth on both sides ones and things like that. And so our goal is to eventually try to make it available, everywhere. And so it's just going to be a matter of time. And I'm sorry that it's not yet, and we're working towards it. We just have to kind of build that up here, make sure we got everything working, and then we're trying to expand into other areas just because it adds extra complications and things like that for shipping and coordinating and everything. But we've got your back. We're gonna do our best to try to get it available as many places as we can across the globe so that people can build cool stuff and cosplay anywhere. So and have access to good materials. So. Cool. I didn't even know they had like a Super 90 that's more heavy duty. That's awesome. It was good to know. Thank you. See, Paul, you're teaching me stuff. Oh, Jacob, been following me since listening to a panel with me at Salt Lake FanX 2019. Awesome. Thank you. I'm so glad that you tuned in and been following along. That's great. I love doing those panels. Those are just like when I get up there for those panels, they just like come alive, and it's just so exciting. And Salt Lake FanX is like just such a fun environment. I absolutely love it. So thank you so much, Jacob. I appreciate it. Okay, real quick, we're at the end of our time, but I just wanted to show you guys kind of where we're at on the Darksaber real quick, because we're super excited about this build. So, so we were ordering a bunch of stuff on Amazon, and this is a funny thing right off the bat. We got onto Wikipedia, right? You think they're gonna have good, accurate information on, you know, dimensions and things like that, and maybe it is, but you know, according to whatever sources they were able to find. And so we're going off of that. We find out the blade is pretty close to 3 inches wide, and then we're looking at you know, the hilt and things like that, and it says that the blade's like almost 1 inch thick, kind of thing. And we're looking at the proportions to the hilt with the blade, and we're like, okay, well the hilt is actually about the same width as the blade, pretty much. It's just like offset a little bit, and so the blade sticks out a little bit, and then the hilt's kind of set back. So like, okay, the hilt will probably be about 3 inches then, according to this, and you know, it's a little bit wider than what the blade is, and so it'll probably be like 1.5 inches maybe, or something like that. So we ordered this aluminum tubing that's 3 inches by 3 inches by 1.5 inches, and it's ginormous. And we're like, this is not gonna work. So that was a fun learning experience, that we were just kind of like, okay, yeah, this is what it says it is, we'll do it. This sounds about right. We didn't even like pull out a measuring tape and like look at like, is that gonna be too big? Until we were trying to figure out where we were gonna get the acrylics from, and I was like, yeah, so the stuff we're getting is like 3 inches, and then we pulled out the measuring tape, we're like, that seems really big. So instead, we got this, which looks a lot better. This is 2 inches by 1 inch, which is gonna work a lot better. It's got the hollow tube here. This is steel, and the reason we went with that is because it's got a 1/16 inch wall, instead of with when you do the aluminum, they don't really do a 1/16 inch wall. It's like a 1/8 inch, and so it's a lot, takes up a lot more of your space, especially when you try to get to a smaller form factor that's not like this huge club. I'm like, maybe this was the size of it in the show, and the original Mandalorians back when it was like a people, they seemed like they were probably bigger and stuff, and maybe, you know, maybe they had huge hands. I don't know, but yeah, it's not gonna work. So we're adjusting the measurements from Wikipedia to make it more realistic. So we're basically trying to take it from the cartoon and make it like as if it was a real item. But anyway, so yeah, so we've got this hollow tube so that we can fit all our components inside, and we've got where did it go? There it is. Okay, so we found a really awesome, I think it was on Thingiverse, we found a really awesome 3D model of the Darksaber, and so anybody that's wanting to just have a hilt and not have the blade or anything like that, this is a great option to go with. It's a little bit too small for us to fit components into and things like that, and so we had to go a little bit larger. But it also too, there are some changes I would make to it, but we printed it out to kind of give us a good little like reference and kind of get an idea of like sizing and what we think of it and that kind of stuff. But so that's kind of something we've done already as well. We have this power supply that can fit just really nice and snug in here, and that being done, hopefully we can make this power supply work, because then you could just get this and you don't have to worry about creating your own battery and wiring that all up and everything, and hopefully we can help make, for beginners especially following along, that process a little bit easier, and it's more reusable. So if you're spending the money to get batteries and things like that, you can actually just pull this out, charge your phone with it. You know, you could get 2 of them and like interchange them. When one kind of dies, put one on charge, put it back in there, kind of thing. So, real quick, Jacob had a question here. Could we use FOMO to add surface detail to a 3D printed helmet? So I do know that Myron had a 3D print that like it had gotten messed up and didn't like it was supposed to be like kind of like rounded all the way around and it had like not worked and kind of had like this like divot in it or something like that, and he did use FOMO on the 3D print to kind of continue that curve around. So I know that he has done something with kind of attaching it. I don't know which filament it was that he was using, if that makes a difference of whether you can do it or not. But I would definitely just make sure that you get the FOMO, get some water on your fingers and work it into the FOMO to make sure it's nice and that it's nice and sticky, essentially, to just get it a little bit tackier before you put it on there, and then like smooth it off and like just kind of really press it in and rub it in around that kind of seam transition there, and then you can gently sand it down and smooth that out. So yes, I don't know if that fully answers your question, but I do know that Myron has attached it to a 3D print before, so hopefully that helps. So yeah, just a couple of the other components that we've got here, because our plans for this Darksaber are we're going all out. We got a speaker. We got this little teensy board, which is basically the brains of the whole operation. But we have the what was the other thing called? It was a prop something. Prop shield. Okay, so we've got this little microchip thing that is the brains of the whole thing, and that will be able to fit inside here as well. Plug in USB here to power it, and then it also has a motion sensor on it and the soundboard. So we got this prop shield to be able to have that I think has the motion sensor and stuff on it, so we can do the motion control type of thing and the sound effects and whatnot as well built into it, so that'll be cool. And then we got these LEDs. Oh no, these aren't the LEDs. These LEDs, which let me show you guys these, because these are gonna be amazing. I don't remember what Odin used in his or what Bob used in his from I Like to Make Stuff in their Darksaber builds, but these are gonna be amazing. So let me just show you the difference here. So this is like kind of your standard LED strip here. So you're gonna have, there's, okay, let's see if I can get it to focus. Come on. Come on. Okay, so anyway, hopefully you can make it out blurry. So there's an LED, and then clear over here's your next LED, right? With these ones we got, let's rotate it around like that. Okay, so like from the time you go from one LED to the other one here, there's like 6 in between that on this one, and so we're super excited for that. So that's going to be a lot brighter. There will be less hot spots because the light will have like fewer gaps in between to have kind of those hot spots and everything. So we're going to have a really bright, nice glow. Our biggest thing is these are RGB and like individually controlled, and so because it's RGB, does all the colors. It's not technically like white, so it just like runs all the colors to do white, I think. And so we'll have to see how white it is. That's the only thing we're not sure about on these, but if that works, then these will be our guys. Otherwise we need to get like just a straight white individually controlled one. And so the reason we're doing them individually controlled is so that we can actually have, when you light it up, that it like the light to go up the blade, like a lightsaber would, right, when it like ignites. So yeah, anyway, those are kind of some of the progress on it. I've started templating, patterning the hilt a little bit, just digitally trying to figure out some measurements and what size we're going to make certain things, referencing the images that we've collected, everything like that. So anyway, I'm super excited about it. after this weekend, we'll probably jump in full steam on that. But yeah, so that's obviously it's not gonna be this long. We're gonna cut this down. But this was super cool. We went actually to like metal mart, metal shop place, and they sell like remnants kind of thing, like leftover pieces from stuff they've cut for other customers and things like that. And we got this for like $5. So it's a great way to get a nice little piece of steel. If you don't go and like go into their main thing and be like, hey, I need a piece of steel cut down to this, like through their main thing, like go to their remnants department if they have one, and just kind of be like, hey, do you have any scraps that are like this long? Well, I mean, with our template and everything, we'll give you all the lengths and dimensions and everything you need to go and tell them, and you might even be able to have them cut some of the angles that you need on it at that time as well. So we're super pumped about this. It's going to be an awesome build video, and it's going to be a really cool end result. So super pumped about that. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Yeah, perfect. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. It's so much fun to hang out with you guys every week. Make sure to let your friends know about this. If you haven't, if you're just joining us, make sure to subscribe. And we do weekly daily cosplay quick tip clips. Just keeping you at the top of your game so you can cosplay like a boss. And then we have monthly build videos. So like we said, the Darksaber's coming out next month. We had Hiccup's chestplate come out this month. And what I'm starting to do is within the first day or two, the first couple days of coming out with the video, I'll make my template available for free. You just have to watch the video and find the coupon code somewhere in the video and enter that in within the first day or two, and you'll be able to get the template for free. So make sure you subscribe, hit that bell notification to get all notifications so that you never miss when one of those videos come out, and the opportunity to get those patterns for free as well. So thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. I've got my to-do list of things to add to that kit for you guys, and then and also to my list of videos to make. And if you guys ever have any questions or anything, feel free to reach out. We're on Instagram, and feel free to reach out through the messenger there. Follow us on there. We do our like fandom bound Fridays. If you guys haven't heard of that yet, every Friday, because I have my day job and go work kind of in a professional environment outside of this, and then we do this kind of at night. And then Olivia's full-time here, like her full-time job is working with the kids all throughout the day. We just wanted to add more cosplay into our life, so we do what we call a fandom bound Friday, and where we do like a Disney bound type of thing, but we changed it to fandom bound because we're not limiting it to Disney. And we've done where you just kind of dress, you give a feeling and a nod to a certain character just with normal clothes, so you kind of dress up. Anyway, we have a blog that we're putting out on our website that kind of has some of our fandom bound ideas and explaining it and everything like that. But please join us. So basically you're just like secretly cosplaying, going to your day job, and you can make it work for any style of dress, whether it's like business or business, professional, or just like more of a lax environment, casual kind of thing. And you kind of just like wear elements that kind of like have a similar look and color scheme and stuff as like a certain character. You're kind of secretly cosplaying every Friday. So join us for that. And if you do post, tag us in your Fandom Bound Friday in the morning when you leave. Use hashtag Fandom Bound Friday, and we'd love to see what you guys do. So join in with us on that. So thank you guys so much. Have a great night. You guys are awesome, and I'm so grateful for you. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next one. Cosplay on, my friends. See ya.